There we go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Balls in Your Face Marketing. Today, I am joined by an amazing gentleman. He is the godfather of LinkedIn video, the Miracle Baby himself, Brian Schulman. Brian.
What's going on? What's
Brian,
up, Julian?
man, how you doing? Good. So great to talk to you and meet you in person, so to speak.
You too, man. You too, absolutely. It's I'm honored to be here with you.
Oh man, the pleasure is all mine. And I should have also mentioned you're the founder of Voice Your Vibe. So we got a lot to talk about. Man, I don't even know where to start. But why don't we start off right from day one, that beginning one, the Miracle Baby story. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, sure, man. So it's interesting. And it's kind of where everything does start in terms of Voice Your Vibe and everything, because I came into the world without a voice, literally fighting for every breath to make it into this awesome planet of ours. I was born 1.5 pounds. I wasn't supposed to live. This was in the 70s, which just, It didn't happen. And was an incubator for quite a long time. And then got diagnosed with a neurological disorder preteen called Tourette syndrome, which are uncontrollable tics and twitches, and more times than not you don't know you're doing them either. From a visibility standpoint, I would be somersaulting from room to room, jumping up and down, making lots of different noises, multiple facial expressions, these intense neck twitches, wrist flicking. It was a lot of different things, and some of them would commingle. So I was the weird kid, if you will. Growing up, I was also usually the smallest kid too, so it was kind of double whammy for me. But dealt with a lot of adversity, a lot of bullying. And you know, it's interesting because a lot of people ask me all the time, like, how are you so positive all the time? You know, especially after everything you've been through. And I think for me, I wanted to give out the opposite of the negativity that I had gotten. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I had a lot of positivity around me growing up as a kid, but you know, one negative can overshadow 1,000 positives.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't want to give out that. I wanted to give out love and light and encouragement and support and good wherever I can, because you know, we may live in a negative world at times, but I definitely believe there is so much more good and positivity than there is negativity. There's just not enough light shined on it. So I know life is 10% what happens to me, 90% how I react to it. And I know that every breath I take is a gift. And I've certainly failed in life and business way more than I've succeeded. And I think anyone that's succeeded in both life and business would say the same. You know, we just keep getting up and learning from everything that we go through, and dusting yourself off when you fall, wiping your knees off and smiling, and just keep going, because at the end of the day, that's what matters, and that's how you succeed. And the irony behind it all too is, you know, I wasn't the most social early on growing up. I literally didn't have a voice, right? So I kind of found that growing up, and had different tribes along the way, you know, in terms of fam, and slowly kind of started to break out of my shell, especially in high school, and then definitely in college, which is where I found my love for startups. I helped actually found my fraternity at San Diego State. And I've always loved to bring people together. I don't know, I think it's just because I was always on the outskirts. So I wanted to kind of be the one that brought people together, and certainly found a incredible home and family when I came to LinkedIn 14 years ago. And legitimately have been on the platform for 14 years, which is crazy because it's come such an incredibly long way.
Oh, yeah.
But I came to LinkedIn with a purpose. I didn't know how I was going to do it, because back then it was just a digital resume, literally, and you could connect with people. That was it. There was no engagement. But I wanted to give out good, and I wanted to give out positivity, and I figured, okay, well, I'm gonna connect with people, and eventually I'll have a way to be able to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, look,
but it got me there because of my. Yeah, go ahead, man.
No, look, I think, you are an absolute inspiration to a lot of people, clearly. And, it's interesting when you talk about, being on LinkedIn for 14 years. I was certainly technically on LinkedIn, but I wasn't using it that much. I think, as you pointed out, I think most people were just using it as a job site. And going back to the fact that, you calling you the godfather of LinkedIn video, I think that really was a big game changer. And for sure, it does make a massive, monumental difference, because I've often talked about the fact that communication is like only like 10% verbal, and 90% non-verbal. You get so much from being able to see somebody, to see the expression, to hear the tonality in their voice, to the sincerity in their voice, and so on. And that's certainly, something like, that positivity that you have just shines through, I think, in video, and probably would you say that that's sort of the video was the kind of thing where kind of things started to explode for you?
I think video is where LinkedIn started to explode, because even just in the last year alone, granted, there's been so many things that have evolved and changed on LinkedIn in 14 years, but just in the last year, it's been astronomical. It's made life changes. It's changed my life. LinkedIn changed my life, but video truly changed my life. I truly found my voice through LinkedIn video. And the irony behind it, that I was so terrified to get on camera, because all I kept thinking was, what if my Tourette's come out? What kind of video is that going to be? But I didn't have any idea what the hell I was doing, because I had never done it before. I had never stared at myself, this dot, and had to put the content together and hit record and hit post, or never even knew what apps existed. But it launched last June, and it changed everything. When the Let's Get Honest campaign happened with Swish and Michaela and Alex and a number of others, it was like human to human. LinkedIn was a very business professional box network. It was shirt and tie, and that's the way it was. And this campaign changed the game, because people were talking about very personal stories about speech impediments and agoraphobia and PTSD, and just things that they weren't talking about, let alone on LinkedIn, right? So it brought the humanality in, and all these heads started popping up, and people started sharing these personal journeys, and I was inspired. I truly was. Now, I had access back in June when it launched in beta, but I was like, no way, I'm not doing this. Yeah. So, followed what was happening, with Goldie and String and others, and then got called out by Goldie in October, because her and Fahad and Mike Morgan launched the 5 videos campaign. And it was literally all about just, okay, hey, if you're a brand new creator, never made a video, make 1 video a day, 5 days in a row. Talk about jumping in, right? It's not just like, hey, make 1. It was a great thought, because it was all about, well, if you're going to do it, just take the leap and jump, and doing it consecutively, you'll get you a little bit more comfortable and into it. Yeah. And the nice thing was, it was all starting out through hashtag campaigns. So everybody was popping up with just different hashtags, and that was a great way to get going. So first video for me, I was inspired by Let's Get Honest. So I told my life story, about being a preemie and Miracle Baby and Tourette's. And Julian, I had not ever shared that with the world, so to speak. Mm-hmm. I can count on one hand the number of times I've talked about it. When I got diagnosed in 5th grade, I got in front of my class. I told them, hey, I've got this thing. It's called Tourette's. And I was scared and relieved at the same time to let people know what this thing was. It wasn't this disease. You weren't going to catch it, Mm-hmm. I wrote a paper in 8th grade. I wrote a paper in college. And then the only other time that I really talked about it was when I went for a job, early days in my tech career. I didn't have a lot of legs to stand on in terms of experience. This was during the .boom era. Right. And I was going for a sales job and met with like 8 hiring managers. And so I just kind of went with my story: resilience, tenacity, grit. I can get through anything. I can learn. And it went through every single hiring manager's head. And I literally walked out of there defeated with my head down. I didn't get the job. And I said, well, I'm not going to talk about that anymore. Because in my mind, all I wanted to do was I wanted to be normal, right? At that time in my life, I'm sitting here going, I just want to be like everyone else. And I didn't realize that was my superpower. You know, it was an ability for me to be able to use this gift that I was truly given to inspire other people. And so video happened, and this Let's Get Honest campaign happened, and I'm like, wow. And it popped into my head. I'm like, gosh, I want to tell my story. And so that was my first video, and it was horrible. It was horrible. I was sitting right here in my home office. I'm looking off screen the whole time. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I made my 5 videos. I was getting ready to go on a business trip. I had no time. I made my second video from the car at the airport. I think I shot it 8 times. I finally had to hit post because I almost missed my flight. Made a couple of videos the next night at my hotel room, like 1 in the morning, because again, I had no time. I was in meetings all day. Changed my clothes twice, so it didn't look like I had made the video in the same night. Got through my 5. And I reached out to Goldie afterwards, and I'm like, okay, tell me something here, because I am so incredibly uncomfortable. I have no idea what I'm doing. When do I start to feel more comfortable? And she definitively was like, about 20 videos. And so I've got like devil angel on my shoulders going, wait, I got to make 20 videos to feel a little bit more comfortable? And then the other side of me is like, okay, you got to make 20 videos. And I mean, I didn't know what I was going to be talking about, but these hashtag campaigns that everyone was creating was the way to keep going. So thankfully it got me through in the beginning. But Amy Blaschka had told me that first night, because I reached out to her. I'm like, what do? I don't even know like how to do this. She's like, download this app called Clips. It's really easy. It's for your iOS. Here's a quick link tutorial. You'll totally get it. And I made a bunch of videos out of the shoot with that. But then it came to this point where I said, well, what the heck am I going to do when these hashtag campaigns stop? Like, what's my thing? I don't have green hair like Goldie. I don't have, you start kind of looking at every other creator out there and going, well, that's not me and that's not me. Oh my gosh, what's me? And then I realized, I'm like, well, wait a minute. It's me. I just need to do me on video. Everything I've been exuding and doing, I just need to bring that to the camera. And like you said, it brings out your personality and your tonality, and you can express yourself, and it's the closest you can get without actually touching someone. So yeah, it's
nice to get, it's so nice to get here, the story in more detail and the journey like that. Some of mine is similar in the sense that, I had no intention of doing the show. I was completely nervous as well about doing it. I really was uncomfortable about the idea of putting myself out there, being a face online. It just sort of happened to me. Obviously, I don't have I certainly was not a miracle baby by any stretch of the imagination. I was fortunate to sort of grow up with good health, but absolutely, I very quickly learned, and what I think you're sort of touching on is something that I've talked a lot about is this sort of new economy of authenticity. The fact that you get that really it was that realization that you're saying, that to just be you. And it's funny because I see now so many people being inspired by you, so many people coming on, and saying, here's my first video because Brian told me to do it. And it's really like, it's just amazing to see so many people do that. And what's funny too is that, again, like people are sort of like, well, what should I be doing? What shouldn't I be doing? And it really depends on what you're comfortable with. Like for example, like later on, this afternoon, I'm going to be interviewing Judy Fox. She's a very charismatic, wild and kind of crazy kind of character. She's willing to really do some sort of out of the box kind of stuff, put on some characters and some roles.
Yeah.
Could anybody and everybody pull that off? Probably not, because if for a lot of people it would be forced, whereas for her it's just that's part of her personality. It's natural. You know,
Yeah, definitely.
So again, I think that's very core to, you know, how do we use this? How do we use this platform? Don't overthink it. You know, I think what is a very sort of valuable message that I'm extracting out of that. You know, is because I think that's the only way to go. And video, exactly. It's transparent. People can see through. You know, can know when you're faking it, know when you're trying to be something that you're not.
Yeah.
And also, again, I think the exposing your vulnerability, that's the wonderful, beautiful thing about LinkedIn, is that people have been free to do that, and not, you know, without really much trolling, or, you know, it's just been a very supportive community. And these things, you know, these things transcend business, right? Because they're all, like, at the end of the day, we are all real people with real lives, real struggles, and those struggles impact business, you know, and people have to succeed in business with whatever it is that they're going through. And so I think it's just so helpful for people to share what, you know, their experience was, and do it. And like, again, your story is so inspiring. And it just occurred to me, because I've got a son, you know, my 5-year-old, the way his birthday falls is exactly, he's sort of like a year a bit behind the students, right? That just because his birthday falls in October. So he's, you know, and at that young age, it makes a big difference. But now I'm just realizing, geez, man, like at a month and a half, if they count that as your birthday, and you're basically like a good, like 8, you know, nearly 8 months already behind the game. Right? Because really, like, you know, if you've been born when you were supposed to, 7.5 months later, that would have been your birthday. At least you would have, like, maybe had a bit of a hype, like, opportunity there.
Yeah, totally, man. I mean, and you hit on so many things. I think, you know, and spot on too. You know, LinkedIn, it's such an incredible place to be, man, because it is all about being you and being genuine and being authentic. And I love Judy, and you know, it's funny because there are a number of us, and it's only something that's been brought to light recently, but that do characters and impressions. And, you know, I was part of my life growing up too. Music was a big part of my life, comedy was a big part of my life, dancing was a part of my life, all different forms of expression, I think. And I find it interesting because that's a consistency across friends of mine that I know that have Tourette's and that I've actually met on LinkedIn just over the last number of months, which is crazy because in 14 years, I have never met anyone on LinkedIn that has Tourette's, and just in the last couple months have met a handful that are just incredible human beings. But I think if you just be you and you show up and you be present and you be authentic and genuine, you know, the thing with video is just start. You know, it's really easy to get caught, oh, the lighting and this, what do I talk about and how do I express myself? No, just smile or laugh, hit record, start talking, something that you want to share with the world, create some copy to go with it, and hit post. It doesn't have to be more complicated than that. Because the reality is you have your own unique voice, and your voice is going to attract your tribe. You got 550 million people on this platform. These are some interesting metrics. Out of 550 million people, there's about 1,000 creators. The numbers are starting to grow. About 1,000 creators, and of those 1,000 creators, that's about 100 plus that are consistent. Those are staggering metrics in the scheme of 550 million people.
Wow.
So there's such an enormous opportunity to be present in a way that you've never been able to be present on this platform before, and to really engage people and have incredible conversations. And you mentioned something else that is so important, you know, all this support and this encouragement and the love that you see in this platform. I remember one of my shout out Saturday videos, there was a Jess, an Emmy Award winning newscaster. She started her own agency, but before she did, she had hopped on and she's like, hey, I'm a brand new video creator on this platform. And I'm blown away by all this love and this support and this encouragement I'm seeing. I've never seen this on any social platform ever. We need to keep this going. And she's right. And the reason is because when we all got started last year, that's what was happening. Like, I don't think, Julian, I could have gotten through the first stage of my journey on video without the support and the encouragement of Goldie and Fahad and Mike and Fiona in Hong Kong, who got started when I did. because I was just, again, I was so terrified to do it. And I was greener than green and didn't have any idea what the hell I was doing. But that support meant the world. It meant more than I could ever describe, because it was the first, you know what I mean? It was the first time. And some people are like, well, hey, what's the big deal? It's just video. No, it's not. It's the first time you start anything that you're terrified to do. You want to start your own company. You don't think you can do it. You want someone out on a date who don't think you'll give you the time of day. You want to become a parent. You don't think you can do it. You don't think you're worthy, you know, whatever. I mean, literally anything, any first, it's that. And when you have support behind you and encouragement and love, it changes everything. And so when I got that, I was just like, wow, I need to give this out 10,000-fold to anyone and everyone I see creating videos, you know? And that's why my first video campaign started, was because Goldie, Fiona, and I said, well, hey, and Fiona came up with the idea. We just were all rallying behind it and said, let's laugh at ourselves to see how far we've come from our very first video. Because the reality is, we all started from ground zero. We were all horrible. And just, we kept hitting record and post. And then it was, well, if we could actually inspire new creators to take the leap like we did, what an amazing gift that is to be able to give, you know, for all those reasons and more. So for me, like after those hashtag campaigns, and I finally said, well, I just need to be me. It all comes back to my why, Julian. My why is to inspire one person a day. If I can inspire one person to chase after their dreams or get up after they've fallen 50 times and do it again, knowing that just by getting up, you are succeeding every single time. Whether you reach that end goal, you are succeeding. Or if I can inspire someone to inspire someone else, or if I can put a smile on somebody's face when they're just having a bad day, or make somebody feel good about themselves when they just don't. Like if I do any one of those things for one person a day, I have accomplished my mission as a human being to make the world a better place. And the reality is that old saying, you know, one person can change the world. It's true. It's a ripple effect, man. You see what's happening on LinkedIn. There's so much love. And to your point, yes, this is a business social networking platform. People are here to do business. But the reality comes back to one thing. We're all people, and we're all human beings who have hearts, and we all work together, and we are better together. And if you show up, and if you be you, and you be genuine and authentic, you are going to create some of the most incredible relationships that you've ever had in your life. And I say this from experience, because this family that I have on LinkedIn, and especially through video, man, I would stand on a train tracks for any one of you guys. Like, it is the most amazing thing ever. And most of us, we haven't even met in person. We've known each other for over a year through video. And it's like we finally meet and we hug it out, and it's just like we were in front of each other yesterday, because that is the authenticity that comes through when we're on video together. And you're right, you can't fake it. People know, you just got to be you.
Yeah, no, man. And the funny thing is that, you know, everything that you're saying, in fact, is almost like a million times more. You, for example, you are helping way more than one person a day. You are inspiring people not to just create video. You're inspiring them to push through adversity, be okay with failure, you know, get in touch with themselves, all kinds of things that you are inspiring them to do. And, you know, again, it goes beyond, again, even it's 100 times more than just, you know, you can be yourself. It is accepting and loving. It goes even beyond that, because I think, you know, there really is this economy of authenticity. And why I call it that, why I say that all the time, is because I think, you know, years and years ago, generations were very loyal to brands, and brands meant something. You know, if you were an old person and you were like, oh, well, GM, it's got a name, it's got a reputation, that meant something. And also back in those days, you know, people would work for those companies for their entire lives. And so the employees were very loyal to them. The clients were very loyal to them. But that's not the case anymore. People are so sick of the polished, you know, perfect commercial, the nice sheen and shine on everything. They want to buy from something that's real. The younger generation would much rather drink some microbrewery beer than, you know, some big conglomerate beer. people want to buy from people at the end of the day, you know, and it's,
yes,
in a way, I think the people, the power is finally coming back to the individuals, because the individuals have personality. They have,
yes.
That's is a brand, something that people can identify with. Not, business is just like, it's, you know, like a business, like, it's nothing. It's too big. It's too much. There's no character.
You are hitting on why Voice Your Vibe has been put to fruition, because it literally is everything you're just saying. And I've had so many of these conversations with executives around the world specifically about that, which is whether you've been a brand that's been around for eons or whether you're brand new, right? Every brand wants to attract their tribe, right? We all look at our favorite brands and why we're loyal to them, and like we literally are, we're lifers, right? Because it makes us feel a certain way. It's not about how much stuff costs. It makes us feel a certain way. We feel good when we're wearing some certain brand or driving a car by a brand or eating a specific food. Every brand, it makes us feel a certain way. And so I think the challenge with how it's happened is, to specifically to your point, is that these brands, they've forgotten about the heart, the why they started that company, especially the ones that have been around for so long. Because the founders, they retire, they pass away, or next generations take over and the message gets lost in the whole telephone, peanut butter and jelly or whatever. And it's not about the purpose. It's not about the mission statement. It's about the heart. Why did they start that company to begin with?
Yeah, no, and their mission, the thing is that
it was
that
heart.
Mission, yeah,
and
that
brands
mission,
go back to that.
Yeah, that mission now, unfortunately, has become, you know, for those big companies, has been, you know, get a return for the investors. It's about the stock. It's not about what they provide. And the
100%.
The other big factor, you know, is and I've talked a lot about this, about the fact that, you know, the predictions are anywhere from 34% to 50% of the workforce is going to be freelance by the year 2020. You know, even if it's only the 34%, that's still a huge percentage. That's a massive percentage. That's a massive number. And so that's actually kind of why, in a way, I don't think I'll ever be able to kill the find your tribe language, but I've been advocating for, you know, find your village. And the reason why I say that is twofold. One, I guess, because tribalism has this sort of negative connotation to it. But really the main thing is because, you know, if that's where we're going, then we're sort of going back to this village economy. You know, back in the days when one person in the village would make shoes and somebody else would make candles and somebody else would, you know, and we all helped each other out. And that again goes back to the spirit that we are seeing on LinkedIn of how, you know, we're all like, hey, how did you do this? How did you do that? Oh yeah, you know, I mean, how often, you know, people who get it, and I know somebody's got it, because the first thing that when I meet somebody is how can I help you? Right? The people who are asking that are the ones I'm like, okay, you know, you see, you understand where this economy is shifting, and it's so refreshing to see. It's so nice to see.
It's wonderful to see, man, and it's so needed, and it is something that I think has gotten lost over the years. And so I think if people realize that we are better together and we are in it together, and by coming together collectively, the most incredible things happen. The most important thing is that people care about one another. You know, this is a lost leadership art. You know, the best leaders in the world do one thing amazingly. They truly care about the human beings of their people and their companies. And when you do that and people come together, it's magic. It's magic. And so I see it starting to happen again. I think, again, we have fostered that on LinkedIn, and what not a better place for that to happen, because this was where all of these incredible companies and people that bring these companies together live, to do amazing things together. And the collaboration, you know, it's not about competition. It's about collaborating. When people come together, it's amazing things happen.
Yeah. No, I agree. I have no sense of competition with any of my, any agencies or individuals, none whatsoever. I'm very happy to speak to other marketers, other advertisers, because I think, again, also the big thing is that, you know, there's just so much going on. There's so much opportunity out there. You know, that, you know, there's no real benefit to being sort of cutthroat, transactional thinking. You know, it's important, I think, for people to really start adopting that abundance mindset and realizing that, like you're saying, you know, that we're better, we're stronger and better together.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
Yeah, man.
So tell me a bit about those. So aside from all of these sort of, I guess the warm and fuzzies that we're kind of talking about, I mean, how does one then convert that for those people who are like, well, okay, how do I monetize this? How do I make this drive business and sales? What's your advice to people on that?
Yeah. So when you say this, do you mean video or LinkedIn in general?
LinkedIn in general.
Yeah. So this is something I've been telling people for years. If you just show up, okay, again, 90% of this is showing up. 10% of it is the rest. By showing up and by meeting people in the comments, engaging, sending people personalized invites to connect, and getting on the phone, getting on podcasts with people, having conversations. Again, it is all about building relationships. And if you look at LinkedIn that way, as a place to build relationships, everything else comes. I have had the most incredible opportunity. It all falls into place, you guys. You don't have to sell. Yeah. You just need to be genuine and authentic in you, and just use your voice, because that is what attracts people. I have had I am on a number of boards. I advise startups and founders. I do speaking engagements throughout the year. I've had builders of companies reach out to me about becoming CEOs of these organizations they're putting together. This is all organic just because I've shown up.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, specifically, showing up is creating content, making videos, sending out positivity into the world, helping people for the good of helping people. Yeah. Be someone who is a giver to give. Yeah. If you give to give and you give expecting nothing thereof, naturally great things will happen for everyone. Yeah. But that's the key, is just be someone who is helpful, be supportive, you know, share with people. You know, we talk about video, and it's a great example. And yes, I do. I love getting on calls with people that are scared to get on video. And I think it's the most incredible gift ever for me to see someone actually get a video after we've had a conversation when they were terrified like I was to do it. You know, but that's what it's about, is if we help one another by doing that. I mean, I've seen so many people that have hopped on video and the opportunities that have come just from that. And they weren't talking about business. I have not talked about business out of 188 videos I've made since the end of October. Yeah. I have not talked about business with a purpose, though. It's because I didn't want to, because I was scared. I didn't want to talk about business. I needed there to be something fun here. And it wasn't fun in the beginning because I was terrified, but then it got fun. And then it was about bringing people together.
Yeah. No, same thing. Like, I don't think I've ever named my agency by name in my show. And I agree wholeheartedly. Again, like, you know, you don't exactly. If you're here to add value, to give value to people, good things will happen. And again, like, exactly like you're saying, like, one thing that I always say on the show is, you know, exactly that people don't really buy from companies, they buy from people. And they buy from people who they know, like, and trust. And
yes.
Right. And the thing that's, you know, it's so funny, because exactly like from my own personal experience, and I haven't been doing this for that long. Like I said, I only started my show back in April or so, came right onto LinkedIn. Took me a little while to kind of figure out how to leverage it properly. But very quickly, you know, I got old pictures of the graphs of how my contacts were just this flat line of nobody, right? You know, it was only adding people if I requested. And then all of a sudden I started to do video, and then the inbound traffic. And here's my advice to anybody. Again, if you're doing, that's fine. If you're sort of reaching out to people, so be it. But I like immediately, it's a major, I can tell you, and think about it, you know, put yourselves in my shoes. Right now I've got inbound traffic. I got people saying, you know, connect with me. Imagine what it's like when the second that the person connects with you, you say, okay, fine, I accept your connect. And then they start trying to sell me something. I'm not interested. Like, no, get out of my network. I don't have time for that. If that's all you see me as, a, you know, if you're going to treat me like a commodity, you're not going to treat me like a person. I'm not buying what you have to sell. you know, but if you show your true self.
Well, it's just like any relationship. Yes, 100%. Like if you and I met in person, Julian, right? If I walked up to you in a room and was like, and we never met, I just walked up to you and said, hey, Julian, you know, I don't even know you. I'm like, hey, you should buy this, sign this contract. Like, you're like, wait a minute, who are you and why should I talk to you?
Right.
No, you start with, hey, Julian, dude, I dig your hair. Like, you look super cool, love the scruff. Like, what's your name? Hi, I'm Brian. It's nice to meet you. You know, you get to know someone. It's the same thing. You do the same thing digitally. And that's the thing is I think folks are having a big challenge trying to figure out, well, wait, how do I do this? It's just a different mechanism. And if you treat it the same way you would to meet someone in person, you send them a personalized invite. Once you connect, you send them a message. Hey, Julian, hey, it's an honor to connect with you. Thank you so much for the invite. You know, we should get on a chat sometime. It'd be great to put voices to the text, you know, and hey, by the way, if I can ever help you, let me know. I'm happy to help wherever I can. You know, just be kind, be positive, be giving, because that's how you start relationships. And then the most incredible things can happen from there. But you're right. It's just, you know, by just being you and being a good helping human being and someone who gives, you know, and just, again, we're for people. Just be a person.
Just be a person.
Just be a person.
I know. I know it's so simple. That's a funny thing. It's so simple. And you know, but you're right that I think people are kind of confused about this. Like the fundamentals, like human nature is not going to change. We as a species and our psychology, you know, doesn't really change much. You know, we react to the same thing. We react to things and to each other in the exact same way. And, you know, that was an article that I wrote maybe a month or two back, you know, about, you know, this title, like, stop being so sensitive. But a big part of it was, you know, it's not the internet that has turned us into trolls or jerks or saints or whatever online. The fundamentals have always been the same. We are all humans with, you know, darker demons and our better angels. And it's important, you know, to just sort of be, again, to sort of think about how you are, like, again, start treating people the way you would if they were right in front of you. I think that's been sort of the problem of, you know, again, other platforms, let's say like Twitter, you know, right, where, you know, it's a complete bar fight. Everybody can have, you know, kind of hide behind that masquerade of, you know, creating like 10 different accounts. And then it allows for those darker demons to be exposed. And I think maybe that's why there's sort of this magic on LinkedIn is that's my professional profile. I don't, you know, that's the real self that they do not want to diminish. And so as a result of that, you know, people we're, I guess, you know, a little more cautious and a little more real. And again, it's transformed the platform, and I can't wait to see, you know, see exactly like you said, like more people come on, learn from other people. It's just amazing stuff.
Yeah, it is. It truly is. And I mean, what's happened, and like I said, in the last loan is incredible, and the journey ahead is going to be that much more amazing. We're going to see more and more creators hop on, and we do every single day, and I think it's fantastic. And yeah, there can be a lot of noise, but if you just show up as you, you're truly going to find that there's going to be so many incredible people that you meet and that become lifelong family. I mean, literally, it's, you know, it's Sunny Tanan and I joke all the time. We're like, one of us created a LinkedIn fam hashtag, and we both were like, it doesn't matter because but it's a family. That's what it is. This LinkedIn fam is a family, and that is truly what is unique about this. And I don't think Jeff Weiner or Reid Hoffman ever could have imagined that what has happened would ever take place, let alone organically. In that, again, this love and encouragement support that is out there. And yes, it does sound funny and fluffy, but it's real. It's not fluffy. It is truly genuine.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, I gave real case in hand, you know, was, you know, Lila Smith, right? You know, you've met Lila. Well, she was in, Lila. I love her, right? But that's a funny thing, right? Like, I'd never met her in person. I haven't known her all that long, but we connected through LinkedIn. She creates a little bit, she doesn't even create that much content. But, you know, she's absolutely brilliant in the stuff that she does. And she was coming to do a presentation in a conference here in Toronto with Bobby Umar. So, you know, I was like, you know, oh, geez, you know, these great people. Okay, I got to change my schedule and show up to this event. And like you said, like it was right away. It was like hugs, you know, as if we'd known each other
for years
and years.
And I'm with you and can relate, and that happens with every single one of us. It is every time that happens. And I love Lila with all my heart. She's one of my dearest friends. She threw me a launch party for my company in Dallas, which I flew out to. She's incredible, and she is an amazing creator. Because here's the thing, right? Creating doesn't mean you're just creating videos or writing content. Creating is engaging. Like Lila is the queen of engagement in the comments.
Yeah.
She is personal with every single human being she interacts with. And it is like you feel it in your heart every single time. And she says things better. Like, she is amazing.
Oh yeah, and what's amazing, but what blew me away, by the way, because again, like again, it was all through LinkedIn. Now I had the opportunity to see her do it live and in action, and holy crap, this girl was fat. Like, it was just like she was doing what she does, but like on the fly, like just boom, like it was like asking very good questions, you know, like, and like immediately like digging in and connecting with people in live, in person, in real time. In a way that was just so impressive. I was so impressed by her.
Yeah.
And she just, like you said, like she just radiates, you know, love.
Oh yeah.
And she,
she does. And she's a great hugger. And she just exudes, just her personality is just amazing. So yeah, we're big fans.
And the same with you, man. I mean, the same thing. Like, again, the camera exudes your you are one of the most, you know, spirited, your kindness, your generosity of spirit shines through. I think it's really amazing. I'm such a fan of what you do.
Thanks,
so
man.
you know, everybody, you know, check out you know, Voice Your Vibe. You know, get in on the Saturday shout outs. You know, every day, you know, look Brian up. You get some shout outs. Think about the people that you are, because we touched briefly on the fact, you know, that how much gratitude is important, right? Like, be grateful for the things and the people in your lives, and you know, support each other. Only good things come of it. Any final sort of words of advice, tips, tricks, anything that you would like to share with the audience?
You know, I think, again, when it comes to video, just start, take the leap. You will be so happy once you do. Once you've taken that first step and you just keep going, be consistent in creating. That doesn't mean create every day. Find your groove. If you decide, hey, I'm Julian and I'm going to do a video every Wednesday at 5 p.m., then do a video every Wednesday at 5 p.m. because it's just like your favorite show you show up to every Wednesday at 5 on TV. You know it's going to be there. You're excited and you're waiting for it. That's what your audience is looking for. That's what your tribe is out there waiting for. And to your point, be genuine, be authentic, be you. Just show up. Don't sell. Just be yourself. And the most incredible things will happen once you do. Live your life with a heart of gratitude, and especially on this platform. And when you do that, I'm telling you, you're going to just see incredible things come from that. And we talk about this platform and monetizing and such. Those things will happen if you do this stuff, and if you just show up and be human. All the great things happen because of it.
Wow, man, that is solid gold. That was just a good minute there of solid gold advice. Brian, man, so nice to talk to you live in a call. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Oh, and I appreciate you, man. And it's so good to chat with you. And I look forward to us hanging out in person in the future. And thank you so much for having me on your show, man. I truly appreciate it.
The pleasure's all mine.
I've got big balls. I've got